You have 5 minutes to rebut. I would like to remind both of our debaters to try to refrain from interrupting during the non-freeform sections.
Well, sometimes you can't help it. Okay, number one.
But here you go.
You mentioned Neil Gorsuch as a victory for Trump just after we had the conversation about how you're socially liberal. By your own standard, that's not a victory. So that's a weird thing to say. Number two, the JFK thing. Again, this is so silly because, like, yes, it was scheduled to be released. And he was like, yeah, okay, go ahead. But then he goes on Twitter and takes credit for it. And everybody's like, oh, yeah, you got to give him credit. No, you don't have to give him credit. He was taking credit for something that was scheduled to be released. Now, to the broader question, is Trump a good president? The answer is decidedly fuck no, and it's not even close. Let's go through some of the things that he's done. Number one, he signed a bill that gutted internet privacy rights. This is something that's not talked about nearly enough. It's a bill that literally 6% of the American people supported. Every single Republican politician voted in favor of gutting internet privacy rights. And what it does is it makes it so that anytime you put your information online into a site, they now have the legal authority to take your information and sell it to whoever the fuck they want to sell it to. Whereas in the past, they couldn't do that. They needed to get your permission. That's point number one. Point number two, he picked Ajit Pai to lead the FCC. Ajit Pai's main goal is gutting net neutrality. Number three, he did gut Obamacare. I don't know why you sold him short on that one. He indeed did gut Obamacare. He proposed Trump Care, which, by the way, had a 12% approval rating. What a winner he is. According to the CBO, with just his recent executive orders on Obamacare, 1 million more people are going to lose health insurance. Premiums are going to rise by 20%. They eliminate the protection for pre-existing conditions because they make it optional on a state-by-state basis. And what's going to happen is half the states, the red states, are going to say, we don't believe in protecting people with pre-existing conditions. His tax plan, when the CBO crunched the numbers on that, it gives everybody who's poor a $40 tax cut, gives everybody in the top 0.2% $940,000. Wow. He wants to eliminate the estate tax. That's another one that's, I'm sure you agree with him on that one, so I don't know why you didn't count that in his victories. But, of course, the estate tax also only applies to 0.2% of Americans. It's for people who make over $5 million or have over $5 million. Now, in terms of free speech, an issue, TJ, I know you care desperately about, Trump suggested making flag burning illegal. That's deeply against the First Amendment. He suggested delicensing news outlets that put out stories he doesn't like. That's another thing that's deeply against the First Amendment. And I don't even know what that means, by the way. I don't know what the fuck he was thinking he could even do on that front, unless he thinks he's some sort of a dictator. He increased drone strikes by 432%. Obama was terrible already with drone strikes. Trump increased them by 432%. This is something that, again, you as a more libertarian-leaning person should probably absolutely despise. He picked Jeff Sessions for attorney general. This is another guy who's socially backwards and who's doubling down on the drug war. He escalated in Afghanistan. He escalated in Syria. He escalated in Iraq. His very first military raid as president killed an 8-year-old American girl. Her name was Nawar al-Awlaki. And, of course, he pulled us out of the Iran deal, which makes it much, much more likely that Iran gets a nuclear weapon. And I could go on, but I'll leave it there because I've probably filled up all my time.
You actually have 2.5 minutes left if you want.
Okay, step aside. First day in office, he reversed a middle-class tax cut. He literally reversed a middle-class tax cut for mortgage insurance premiums. He's doing a $110 billion Saudi Arabia weapons deal, which proves that he's an establishment bitch boy who's doing what every single president before him did. He picked a predatory payday lender to be the head of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. He littered his administration with Goldman Sachs lackeys, including Steve Mnuchin and Gary Cohn. Gary Cohn, by the way, got a $285 million exit bonus when he left Goldman Sachs. And look at that. He's pushing for privatization of our infrastructure, and Goldman Sachs gets to be the beneficiary. Trump increased military spending by $80 billion. And even on the things that I would agree with you that he did good on, like killing TPP, I originally gave him credit for that. Guess what? I was a chump. I was a sucker. Because what happened is during the renegotiation of NAFTA, they're now slipping in provisions from the TPP. And I'll wrap it up with that.